Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to your weekly dose of newsy infotainment. It's Let's Be Treasonable, coming to you from the luxurious studios of Radio Titans in Los Angeles with your cognitive dissidents on the panel this week, comedian, world traveler, and economist Cat Alvarado.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Kat, thanks for coming in. Also joined, as we are every week, by comedian bon vivant and always the black voice of reason, Mr. Tymon Shipp.
Power to the people. Good to be here with my fellow comedians.
Yes, likewise. Thank you for joining us. Also on the panel this week, comedian, teacher, and student of life, Michelle March.
That's me, student of life. That's where we go. Yes, yes.
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
Kind of
That's right.
Hakuna
Let's
Matata.
bridge
to
those
you,
gaps
too.
now, David.
Let's
keep it at the
what
table,
we are
David.
all
Yes.
about. And I am Dr. David Robinson, your Vin Scully for the impending apocalypse and Jew who will not be replaced. It is America in Crisis, Day 218. The week began with a total eclipse of the sun and ended with Trump plunging us further into the darkness that has really become the trademark of his administration.
I was hoping for a total eclipse of the orange, but, didn't work.
It would be nice.
But there are people falling, though. There are people falling.
There are.
I think 9 so far.
I've lost count, but yeah, Sebastian Gorka was the latest to leave, the latest rat off the sinking ship, if you will, and it's good to see him go. Now there's just 2 white nationalists in the administration that we need to get rid of: Stephen Miller and Donald Trump. So once those 2 are gone, and we get everyone else,
David?
but not one of the good ones.
But Pence is a home. So we can just get them all. Next, get them all out.
Exactly. And before we do that, which we will, let's check in with our invisible panelists. Joining us via the magic of pre-recorded sound, it is 5-time Emmy nominee, brilliant comedian, Mr. Will Durst, with this week's Burst of Durst. Hey, Will.
Hey, guys. Will Durst here with a few choice words about the huge gulf between what our president says and what he means. Sometimes it's obvious, as when he says that reporters don't know how to write good. But most of the time he talks in a peculiar code which we here at Durst Co. have gone to great lengths to decipher so that you can follow along in a segment we like to call What Trump Says and What Trump Means. What Trump says: the media is being totally unfair. What Trump means: they keep reporting the facts. When he says, many people don't even know this, but what he means is, he didn't know that. When he says, believe me, don't believe him, don't believe him. When Trump says, everybody hates the United States, what Trump means is, everybody hates Donald Trump. When he says, many people are talking about this, nobody's talking. When Trump says, he's an idiot, he's a loser, he's weak, what he means is, someone disagrees with him. When he says, he's a good person, someone agrees with him, but you wouldn't want that person to babysit the kids. When he says, I will let you know in a brief period of time, what he means is, he has no idea what's going on. When Trump says, there's 2 sides to every story, what Trump means is, white supremacists are his base. When Trump says, I don't have time for political correctness, what he means is, he's a mean-spirited oaf. When Trump says, absolutely, 100%, what he means is, probably not. When Trump says, the failing New York Times is one of the worst newspapers, what he means is, they are nailing his butt good. And finally, when Trump says, we're going to build a wall and get Mexico to pay for it, what Trump means is, we're going to build a mall and get Ross Dress for Less to pay for it. For Let's Be Treasonable, I'm Will Durst.
Thank you very much, Will. Now, I think Will ended on an interesting point that is a good place for us to start, because I do want to talk about the duality of Trump. And, we got the 2 different, well, really 3 different speeches, the 3 faces of Trump this week. But when he said in Phoenix on Tuesday that we're going to build that wall if I have to shut down the government, I thought to myself, we are all Mexicans now. because we're the only ones who are going to be paying for that wall if it gets built.
Hasta la victoria!
hey, I love my enchiladas and my margaritas. I'll be Mexican.
Hey, well, it seems like every disaster, when there's a terrorist attack in France, we are all Paris now. Je suis français, je suis Charlie. And yeah, we have all been made Mexican by Donald Trump this week, which means we are all subject to getting deported.
What he did, all the people who are, patting him on the back saying he's doing exactly what we want. What they're not understanding is that this guy is he's putting us back. I mean, you keep talking about, the immigrants are and this and that. We got to have this wall. That's bullshit. These people come over here and they work their ass off, putting kids through college just like they want what the average American wants. They want everything that any other, a person in America wants, and that is to be able to take care of their families and be able to survive. They want health care and everything else. You just can't keep spreading fear to your so-called base, which are the deplorables, this idiot, and they cannot see that this guy is just selling you some crap.
Well, yeah.
That's what Republicans do. That's what they do. They sell fear. And it does work because people go with it.
Right.
And it's been for a long, long time that way. It's just now it's very, very visible.
Right. But I want folks to. True. We have healthcare issues. We have laws that need to be passed. But you just can't put the blame on history. Already shows that. That was the whole problem with when African Americans were striving ahead. And as soon as they started striving, you say, "Oh, look at them! They're taking your jobs. They're doing this. They're doing that, and they're taking that." They're not. That's not what was happening. They were trying to get it. They were just trying to do what you had stated for them to do. To have the American dream, which was to work, go to school. You wouldn't need affirmative action if you had a level playing field.
Well, we don't have it anymore anyway because they took it away. Right. So, we do need it.
Yeah, I just think that you can't. But then again, the guy stated a long time ago, I could shoot someone and they'd still vote for me. So that's what the thing.
The frightening thing is, it wasn't that long ago. It's I was talking to someone last week that it's amazing for a man who apparently doesn't believe in science and scientific proof and the scientific method, that he is somehow able to bend time and space because. I was at a birthday party last week. I was talking to someone about stuff that happened 30 years ago, and it felt like yesterday.
The same, yeah. It was the same.
When we were talking about it, but then we realized, dude, that was 30 years ago, and I started thinking about it, and it feels like most of the last 30 years has passed in the last 6 months.
Exactly.
They're like the amount of crap. I was tonight. They were like, "What are you guys going to talk about on the show tomorrow?" Because there was already so much going on, and then yesterday was a day of craziness with the pardon of Joe Arpaio and
sick racist sheriff.
Seb Gorka resigning, finger quotes intended.
Well, actually, someone told him that you need to get ahead of the storm because you don't want to be like Bush with the Katrina thing.
Well,
they said that. They came out, and one of his senators or someone said that you don't want to be like Bush was with Katrina. They gave him that note, so he
that was like a literal storm. I think with Sebastian Gorka, they mean like the Russian investigation storm.
No. Well,
it's a little of both.
Both. They were actually stating because with this storm happening in Houston, the hurricane is coming. They immediately wanted Trump to say, "Hey man, you need to get out in front of the storm to stop."
Please get out in front of it for a while.
Make this an emergency thing. But they're like, we don't know what's going to happen yet. You can't classify it as an emergency.
Yeah, actually, I have family out there, and they evacuated Galveston, but they only went about 30 miles, like not even 30 miles. Like they're in between Galveston and Houston, and they're like, "Oh, we're fine." I was freaking out. I called them. They were laughing at me.
Right.
Because so far, it's not so bad. They say that a lot of times the media will over-exaggerate stuff to get higher ratings and freak everyone else out in the country.
Right. And it was a voluntary evacuation.
So I think Trump, it's good that he's getting out ahead of it, I guess. But he's, to already be declaring emergency states and things. It seems really premature, especially looking back at 1994 earthquake when I was an infant or whatever, and knowing that like we were 0.1 ahead, like we were 0.1 on the Richter scale away from getting federal help, and then here they are, and they're not even waiting for the storm to pass, and they're like, all right, here we go.
How are the waves in Galveston though right now? Surf
pretty.
some of those. No,
A little scary. There's footage of some
They have
guy in a suit
120. I mean, the
surfing.
weather report was that there were 125-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
They did have 100. I mean, that's still, I don't know,
Well, and hopefully, your family and everyone else in Texas is doing all right. We send, being casters, we send our hopes and prayers. But I do think it's interesting, and of course, this is the kind of thing that conservatives would complain about liberals politicizing the disaster. But I will go ahead and be bold enough to say that if Texas had spent more money and resources on, anti-hurricane type things. I'm sorry, I don't know the specifics because I don't live in a hurricane
I know
state.
what you're talking about.
But the dams, all the stuff that is currently failing in New Orleans. If they had spent the money and resources on that instead of trying to get out of the bathroom, maybe. I'm just saying, maybe they would be better equipped and more prepared to deal with a disaster of this sort. Because
that's different kind of equipment we're talking about, right?
Well,
Yes.
yeah, it's
Sort of, yes.
all kinds of different equipment when you conflate those two issues. But
and Trump. Seeing that you brought that up, Trump did send out. Didn't he just pass? Did he sign the bill to keep trans?
Oh, yeah.
out
Yep,
of the,
he signed it
Yeah.
a couple days
to
ago.
keep them out of the. Look, my thing is.
yeah, 2
I
days
don't
2 days
care.
after talking about how our armed forces are built on love and respect for each other,
Right.
he signs a bill to get rid of trans individuals.
Hey,
No self-awareness.
and what he
Well,
doesn't
we always
understand-
get thrown under the bus. I mean, all our people get thrown under
some of the little does he know, some of his team was either Team SEAL 8 or
SEAL Team 6?
SEAL Team 6 or SEAL or 8 or 6, one of them. One of them is transgender. Okay, and he says, look, you didn't know until I told you, but hey, it doesn't matter. Pull a goddamn trigger. I want to fight for my country, and that's all that should matter. You're gonna fight for your country. If you sign up now, because what are they going to do about his benefits? If he changed that, what are the ones that are already in the service?
They said right now, I think the ones that are in are okay, but think how terrible they feel. Like, oh, they really don't want me. I'm like,
Right.
When you're out doing what you got to do or whatever, like you really need people to believe in you.
Well,
It's
the
not
generals
just that,
already
you
told
know?
the generals
Yeah.
told him, don't sign this, man. We've already taken care of this.
Yeah, get
Okay,
out of the business.
But he's
yes.
got to throw some meat to the hounds. His base. He's got to appease his
Plus,
base.
he's
His
the
base is a bunch of
commander in
haters.
chief, right?
Right.
Of the military.
Your son.
Crazy damn people.
Send your kids. That's what
Commander
I always
in
say.
chief.
Yeah.
Send your
Well
kids. You want.
What did they
to
call
go?
W, David? There's something in chief.
The divider in chief.
Something like that. It was something like that. Yeah, they're all the same cloth, guys. Reagan,
Couldn't go-
Bush.
Yeah, but
Trump.
some
It's the same
some
cloth,
are
though, still
definitely
Republican.
worse than others.
Yeah, I would say that.
and
Definitely
they are,
there is a
That's what
Yeah.
moderates say usually.
no,
I know you're not a moderate.
No, no.
I'm
I'm
a moderate.
that.
I'm a moderate. I've been called a cuck.
Yeah.
I'm progressive. I
know.
think the Republicans are getting progressively worse.
They called you a what? A cook?
A cuck. That's
What
someone
the hell
who
is that?
I have a friend who's like way far on the right, and he knows that like there's some things where I see eye to eye on him, and other things where I do not, because I am a moderate, right? And he's just like, you're one of us. Quit being a cuck, trying to appease all the liberals just so you can get likes on Facebook. And I'm like, no, like I literally have I agree with some things on one side and on a few things on the other side. Very few things on the right,
And
mostly on the left.
And additionally, your wife is not sleeping around on you.
Yeah,
which is
that
the
too. That
dictionary
is the
definition of a cuckold. Yeah,
I do not have
so-
a wife, so
Yeah.
I've
So
tried
it ain't
very hard to
happening, yeah.
see if
There's
there's
that.
any good things on the right, and I looked really hard, and there's actually nothing. So
No, they come up pretty dry
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
go looking for substance over there. I'm sorry.
we got to move to the left, at least a little
There
bit.
are conservatives with good practical ideas. I will grant
Like?
that. I'm not going to get into the details because this is not their forum. They're too too cowardly and too snowflakey
The only thing
to enter
that
this
bothers
chamber.
me about them is when they do not